Ladies and gentlemen, K-Kim here. Welcome to the daily update. Hope you guys had a good day trading today. Hope you guys had a good weekend. I put out pretty extensive analysis video on Saturday afternoon or Saturday night. So if you haven't watched it yet, go ahead and watch it. I'll leave that video link towards the end of the video on the outro screen. But anyway, so it looks like market is slightly down today. I know we had a few other indices up a little bit, down a little bit. Pretty much flat day. I think Nasdaq is up a little bit, but however, there was some fluctuation today, which we'll talk about. So it looks like this is where we closed on Friday. So it looks like we had a slightly gap down here, and that little gap right here could be a little bit of hecticness for the buyers if we don't go up and fill this as quickly as possible. So we'll know more about this gap, where it stands tomorrow. So we'll just wait for that tomorrow. So that's the first hour. It looks like it gapped down to here, right? That's where it gapped down to. We saw a move right on that kind of a micro term pivot there. And then on the second hour, you can see where the gap came, and that gap didn't get filled all the way. And so only the partial, about 30% of that gap was filled. And with that acted as a resistance. On that resistance, you can see here, we're kind of a hang there a little bit. Third hour, there was some attempt to fill that gap, was not able to do so. We saw a little bit of weakness here. As you can see, a little bit of a red body. And then on the fourth hour, we kind of gave out. So that support was not able to hold. In the very, very micro term, as you can see, we did see that on that fourth hour, some pullback there. You might be wondering, what is that blue line going up there? Well, that's actually my pivot, my short to micro term pivot. And you'll see it once I zoom out here. And it will be important. You can see on the fifth hour, so you can see there's that wick. It's important on the fifth hour, we continue lower. But then we bounced, closed right above my pivot there. And on the sixth hour, we saw much of a fluctuation. I was actually kind of watching on the last 30 minutes or so, and it was like up and it was down and then it got up again. So there was actually much volatility on the last hour, the sixth hour, and then we pushed that back up here. So we actually have 3-day bullish reversing candlestick patterns here. This is what they call morning star reversal. You can see that the red candle followed by small spinning top or doji type of middle candle there. And then you can see a green candle, green body that closes right up to that resistance. Obviously, this candle needs to be confirmed by holding above, holding above 369.20-ish area for the first 2 hours tomorrow. If we can hold above this level first 2 hours, I think there's a good chance here that we can continue higher and probably fill this gap. Once this gap gets filled, it's going to act as kind of a short-term resistance. Keep that in mind. So again, first 2 hours tomorrow morning will be important if you want to see these 3-day candlestick reversal pattern confirming. So let's kind of zoom out here, right? And then trying to figure out where we're at. Looking at things more of a short to mid-term. So you can see when we look at the short to mid-term here. So here you go. So there are a couple of things I want to talk about on this chart right here. First of all, that's my rising pivot, right? We talked a lot about rising pivots yesterday on that comprehensive video. I explained a lot about that, so you can go and watch that. But you can see this is a resistance. So when it becomes a new support, it becomes a pivot, and it likes to do that. It likes to do that. It likes to come back down. Not always, but more often than not, these resistance like to become a new support. So we broke above it. That happened on Friday, and then today we came back down, retested it, and then we bounced from it And then a lot of times that's how market likes to move, come back down, retest. So you can see that's that first support, right? That rising pivot acting as support became new support there. And also you can see my short-term moving average acting as support in that vicinity as well. So we kind of have a double support going on in that vicinity. I tweeted out earlier today that if we close below that rising pivot, we're probably gonna go down to 367 or so, but it looks like intraday it got pretty close. But you know how quickly that sentiment changed. This is why, you know, it's very, very difficult trying to time things in the micro, intra-hour type of movement. So, so looking at this here, obviously, you know, we want to continue to give benefit of the doubt to the buyers. You know, in the micro term, I mean, when I just look at this right here, and I'll look at that micro term, I'll do slightly bullish. I'll do bullish / neutral to bullish. I don't want to give quite full bullish yet in the micro term. I'll do neutral to bullish just because we got that little gap still remaining open here. But obviously in the short term, we got these higher lows. We got that rising pivot. We got that short-term moving average here coming up. And we did see that bounce on the last hour. So I want to give it benefit of the doubt to the buyers in the short term. So I think there's a good chance we're going to get up here. Best case, again, buyers want to make sure fill this gap, right? Don't let this gap stay around too long because things could get hectic if that gap continues to not get filled. Probably then we're going to come back down to 367, even coming down and filling this gap. So this gap is going to be the first objective for the buyers to go up and fill it as tomorrow. It has to be tomorrow. So we'll know more about it tomorrow. I'll come back for you guys tomorrow night, obviously, to you know, give you guys an update on this gap. But let's check out that oscillator here real quick and then we'll end this video. So it looks like that oscillator did push up all the way to the overbought zone there, right? It pushed as much as it can today. And then as the price it fell also. So we are currently in that state, in that falling state. So with that, there is basically telling us is, and we talked about this on Saturday, the weekend video, right? We talked about there might be some volatility because buyers are tired. We talked about that on Saturday. So, and that cross continues. So we're kind of working, buyers are working with tired energy. That doesn't mean they can't push. It's just that there could be some, you know what I mean? It might be that they have to take some time. There might be some sideways. Maybe along the way, there's some consolidation and some fluctuations. So I think with that signal, bears might try to take advantage of it. So this is a time where buyers could continue to push higher. But I think if that gap gets filled, obviously, and if you've been listening to me for the last, you know, couple months, several months, gapping above it will just make things a whole lot better. But that probably going to act as resistance. We might see some volatility there. If we not able to fill this gap, this thing is gonna probably come back to 366 even, because you can see there is room to be made to the downside. Another thing we can kind of sometimes happens, and it's kind of rare, but we've seen that happening before, especially in an uptrend like we've been in the last since early November. Sometimes what the oscillator does, it moves sideways like this, and market marches higher. I think we saw that back in like August and September. You know, that rally where, you know, if you guys remember, my oscillator just hang around like this at the top of his band, and he didn't come down for an entire month. And that's very, very rare, obviously. So basically going into tomorrow, I want to continue to give benefit of the doubt to the buyers. We got that gap to a little bit worry about. Also to keep in mind that buyers are kind of working with that tired energy. And so I think there's a good chance that, you know, bears want to see this oscillator gets reset, at least come back down to this support. Only question is, are the bears going to come down? Bears going to, you know, utilize this and you know, take advantage of the situation, or are the bulls gonna hang on and let the oscillator come back, reset, and then before pushing higher? Regardless of all of this, I think overall it's a bullish sentiment, with buyers getting a little bit tired, working with a tired energy, and they might keep trying to push, but there might be a little bit more volatility. Like we've seen something like today, something like this, some grinding volatility going forward this week. I'll come back for you guys tomorrow. We'll re-examine everything and we'll go from there. Have a wonderful evening. Good luck trading tomorrow.